Hi guys, my name is Ryan. I'm excited to be with you today on another talk about modern marketing and some of the neat things that we do, tools we use. Today we're going to actually be talking about, it's a tech tutorial today, not modern marketing. We're going to be talking about HubSpot and setting up deals. There's a lot of CRMs out in the world, as I've talked over the last couple weeks and months. What CRM you use really doesn't matter. CRM, for those of you that just joined us for the first time, customer relationship management software. There's many platforms, all of which in some way, shape, or form usually have some type of deal or workflow sales process built into them. Today I'm going to be specifically looking at HubSpot as what their deals look like, how they function, how you can optimize them for your organization, and some other fun things. So with that said, let's get going. We're going to talk about the following things. What are deals? How do we use them? I'm going to actually say it from Energy Hill's perspective, but I'm also going to talk with you about from other industries and how you can set it up based on your industry. There's always going to be these little quirks to every industry, the unique identifiers that, hey, this is how you guys handle relationships and you're helping you grow your customers or your client base. Literally, I'm going to look at the sales process to deal stage. How does that work when it comes to, here's our sales process, how do we set up our deals? And then also we're going to look at determining win probability. I want to say one caveat about win probability. Although I love it and I think it's good to do and have, there's one thing that I want to mention. Based on if you're a B2C or B2B, these can be very different. If you're a B2C and you're a business that sells to customers and individual people, you're going to probably have a quantity role in most cases where you're selling a large quantity of whatever widget that we're talking about. If you're a B2B, it depends. It might be much less, and literally you're helping businesses, whether it's software as a service or any of the type of B2B type relationships. With that said, your win probability could vary and almost be impossible to determine if you're a B2B, because it might be one of those facts. Well, here's our process, and at this stage we always convert 50%. Well, if you don't have a lot of numbers to help back up that data, you really won't know win probability. So you have to look at it, number one, with a long breadth of time, and also good, healthy amount of quantity as far as how many leads are coming in, how many are closing, how many deals you're closing on a month-to-month, quarter-to-quarter basis, and an annual-to-annual basis. So those are the factors. Win probability can vary greatly based on these stages. I think over time, healthy and mature organizations, in a sense they've been around for years or even decades ideally, they can really know, hey, at this stage, the probability of closing this account is high. But I'm going to show you how to set that up based on your organization, based on your need. And then last but not least, is organizing your sales process. There's a lot of things that can really help you with that. Here's the look, feel, and I'm going to get into the demo in just a second as far as how you set it up. But again, it's really clean in HubSpot. And again, as I said, a lot of CRMs have different positives and negatives as far as how they set up their processes. In this case, it's just kind of very basic. It shows, check out abandoned. This is more of a B2C where it's a shopping cart system. So again, it depends on the organization. But okay, so customizing your sales process, what you kind of need to be thinking about is what is your, in retail we would call it the path to purchase. In this case, we're saying, what is your buyer's journey? It's the same thing. What do they have to do to literally make a decision on it? Are they top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel? There's all these different terms. I'm going to say that in this day and age, there's really a pretty nice dynamic of how people make a decision. There's going to be some things that are very pertinent and quick, in a sense, a need. In our industry, it could be that, hey, they've been pushing off their, whatever marketing partner, finding a good marketing partner for years, and now is the time where a catalyst is happening in their business, and they need to make the decision now because something big is happening in Q4. So those are the time where typically that's when people can be not necessarily forced to make a decision, but they know the sense of urgency is there. I always recommend take a detailed approach and simplify later. I think that helps. In simplify, I'm going to say switch out automate later. So be detailed, be granular in what you set up, how you set up your deals process based on your organization, and then simplify / automate later. If there's things where you need a human person in there, don't automate that out the gate. Especially, you might never automate that. But the point is, definitely don't start off with any automation. Don't use workflows until you say, hey, this is something we're doing every step of this stage of our of our deals, can we automate that? That's when you have enough data back in to say, yep, let's automate this. Convert these buyer steps to deal stages. So the buyer steps would be, your first meeting, your discovery, your, exploratory call, and then your discovery, and then your deep dive, or whatever the term may be for your organization. You know what those buyer steps, what they need to say, yes, this is the right decision for us. Convert those to deal stages. Deal stages, here's a couple things that really we gleaned from HubSpot and also internally. They're factual, in a sense, actions have been taken. They're inspectable, record of the action, and they're buyer-centric. These are they should have this DNA about them. So last but not least, the buyer-centric is based on action of the buyer. Okay, with that said, let's go to demo time. Just switch over real quick. So you'll see here, I am in HubSpot. I'm gonna go full screen here just a second. Okay, there we go. So this is, you're gonna initially not come in here, you're gonna start on the dashboard, but then go to sales and deals and you'll pop right to this section. I'm gonna Command plus a bit just so it's a little bit larger for everyone to see. I've set up a default kind of deal that I'm gonna play around with in a second. But one thing I wanna mention is that these are the defaults. So in a sense, if you're just signing up for HubSpot, here's the stages you're gonna see. I definitely recommend you need to customize them for your organization or for your business. The first one would be appointment scheduled. Lead comes in. In fact, we like to say appointment, either scheduled or appointment or exploratory. And it's your exploratory call, or someone reached out to you via a tracking number or form, and you set up that first kind of initial engagement with the user. It could be if you have a chat system on your website, it's that type of first engagement. And I'm going to be prefacing most of this toward B2B. There's going to be some correlation that B2C can get out of this, but really I'm going to be focusing mostly on B2B for this training tech talk. But in this case, you can really name that whatever, and I'm going to show you in a second how to edit the stage names and set in the probabilities. In this case, the lead comes in. You can set up workflows where if you have a round robin system with your team, you can kind of set out the leads that way. But really, the basics of what happens here is, as the appointment's scheduled, you could say maybe this is a discovery call. And then at the discovery call, I like to say you always qualify them. Are they a good lead for us? Does it make sense to do business with this client, or does it not? Should we not bring them on? Are there certain things in there, whether, I like Michael Jonda's approach where it's, based on the client, based on the project, based on the price. If those three things are not lining up with your organization, I don't care what industry you're in. You can be in construction, you can be in tech. The point is, if the project doesn't line up, if this is out of our scope of what we'd like to do and what we're really good at, there's some issues there. If the client, their technology, they're just not sharp on tech. They had trouble getting into the Zoom. They had all these issues. Think about that going into really the heated moment of the project in production. That's going to be a frustration. And are they established? Are they just starting their business? So there's all those things you need to judge based on the client and the project. And the last is the price. Is this going to be really, tough for them to budget for, or is it something that their budget's so big that really we can do a lot more for them. So those are all the qualifiers you can do to kind of have that exploratory and leading into the discovery call. Exploratory call is really, are they qualified to buy? Let's say yes, XYZ Corp is. Literally it clicks and drags and you move them over from that, whatever you can call it, in this case it's appointment schedule, the default, over to qualified to buy. At this point I would say they need to get a proposal. So I'm going to actually change some of these different stages. But the point is, they work down this flow, and then once you get them down to contract sent, and you say, okay, they won or they lost, what have you, and then you have, follow-ups with that as well. But let's go back here. I'm going to leave them in the qualified to buy, and I'm going to change this to, instead of qualified to buy, that's obvious to me. I don't really like this default. I think it should be, of course they're qualified to buy. They wouldn't have moved on from the exploratory call. So I'm going to say instead this needs to be proposal built and presentation. So what we're gonna do here, let me zoom out just a little bit, board actions, and you can see this, the third drop down is edit stages. I'm gonna click on that, and you'll see this will open up a new tab, a new window, and you'll see all your different stages here. You can see these are exactly what we were just working on, and I'm gonna say appointment schedule. I'm gonna say, instead of qualified to buy, I'm gonna change this to proposal created and sent, okay? And then I'm going to leave this one as that, presentation, decision maker brought in. I'm going to say that, of course, the decision maker should be a part of that. So I'm going to say instead, negotiation. And again, it depends on your industry. Contract sent. I'm gonna say, actually, I'm gonna remove this because I think that maybe you could have an updated proposal. I'm actually gonna remove this step altogether though because it's not needed. So I'm just gonna delete this step altogether. You can also see here that you've got some interesting, I'm gonna change this from, instead of appointment, I'm gonna say exploratory. I'm not sure if I spelled that right. But the point is, the win probabilities are to the right. So you can say that 20%, 40%, 60%, 80%. Those are pretty vanilla. I'm gonna wrap this up in just a second. So, but you can see those vanilla, you can set them to whatever percentage you want. And also you can add update stage properties. There's a lot you can do there. I'm just gonna save this out. Go back to my tab. Go back to deals. And you can see now, I'm gonna just refresh this and you'll see all my stages have now updated. I got my exploratory call, my proposal, created and sent, presentation, negotiations, and closed one. The whole point is you need to customize this for you. And you might say, well, okay, how do I create a deal? And I'm gonna go in a little bit further on this demo and just say, okay, this is ABC Core, and the amount is for 200,000. And the close date. One thing about close date, the default's 2 weeks. I always recommend, based on your sales cycle, you're gonna know what the close dates are. I'm gonna put 1 month. It depends on the business and industry you're in. Also, you can assign the users, whatever sales team you have set up. Good. Okay, so now we have another deal. It immediately pops us into this deal where we can add a lot more details. You can add in contacts and do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I'm just gonna go back to deals. And you can see now we have this set up where now we have exploratory. But let's pretend that this exploratory call has gone all the way to negotiations. And we know at negotiations there's about an 80% chance. Again, these are fictional, but there's an 80% chance. What I wanted to show you is that, and actually I'll show this in the next time, you can actually set up your forecast to align with, hey, based on 80%, we're looking at 80% chance that this could close. So it'll start to, HubSpot will, what's nice about it, it'll start to automatically calculate what are your close percentages based on all your deals across your organization. You can also set up multiple sales pipelines. I just have the default set up. You can set all your deals based on, hey, just my deals, based on just the deals won. You can set it up by deal owner. So if I switch over to Matt here, I just assign ABC to him, so you can see ABC shows up. If I just click to just me, oh, that's me and Matt. If it's just me, it shows just the XYZ core. So you really have that functionality to really set up these stages based on what you want. Okay, so with that said, if you have questions about this, I know I'm really glazing what all can be done in HubSpot, and really all CRMs are a little bit different, but this one I kind of touched the surface on how you should set up your deals for your organization. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. We are running through the end of the month a free audit and campaign based on how your digital presence is. Please make sure to follow us. If you have any questions, please hit the like button. In the comments, put a question if you say, hey, can you explain more about, I know I went really fast through the different, how you would actually, for your organization, set up those stages. I always say, what action should be done in this column? If there's an action that needs to be done, yes, it deserves a column. Now, if it's a micro task, not a big action, but it's a micro task, maybe not. Maybe you can automate some of that. Again, automate slowly, kind of look at all the things that need to be done for a column and take your time. Automation really can get crazy if you just do automation first and say, oh, we're just gonna automate everything. No. Make sure people are involved and there's those nice touches happening where you're engaging with your customers, whether it's B2B or B2C. Again, like, comment, please reach out to us if you have any questions. My contact information is on the screen.